What movies did we see today?
We watched Pacific Rim 1 and then subsequently Pacific Rim 2.
I know, it's a duology at this point. That means there's two of them.
It's a duology at this point, and further from this point, probably the same.
Probably going to stay the same, yep. So, Pacific Rim 1, you actually haven't seen it before this day.
It's very good.
So,
it's a good movie.
What are your overall thoughts?
Pacific Rim 1 was very enjoyable, very big and dumb, but I expected it to be big and dumb.
Yeah, the movie kind of owned it, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of what makes 1 so good is Del Toro's direction. Like, you can tell that, like, he put a lot of thought and creativity into it. And I thought going into the second one that Del Toro also directed the second one.
I thought it was also directed by Gucci Del Taco.
Watching this, I thought, wow, he really dropped the ball. And then at the end, it's like directed by Steven S. DeKnight. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's not Guillermo Del Toro. That's not Shape of Water.
That's not Shape of Water. I literally, like, I'm thinking back to Shape of Water. Like, he made Shape of Water and this. And no, he didn't. Okay,
time period?
He did not do that. How do you want to start? Like, each individually?
We can start with 1 first.
Okay,
It's pretty short.
Yeah.
You've already seen it. And it's pretty dated, so no one cares.
All right, so let's just briefly do Pacific Rim 1.
It was good.
It was really good.
Idris Elba was good. Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, I think.
Kind of.
So here's the thing: Pacific Rim 1 has, I'd say, like a really strong script, some nice visuals, and the characters are kind of okay. The main character that Charlie Hunnam plays is a character that could be pawned off really well, like a nice, like a Star-Lord-esque character. Not exactly to that jokey extent, but kind of like a snarky guy. He's like making comments, and then Charlie Hunnam plays him like a flat wooden. Every line is delivered like this, every single one. Even if he's being funny and making a joke, it's always like this. Like it's very.
I'm not a. So I watched Sons of Anarchy, and he's not like that bad. But he's not, like, great. But he's hot, so he wants to do movies.
That's true. He's very attractive.
Women want to see him in movies.
Right.
And studios are like, wow, Charlie Hunnam's attractive. Let's put him in movies. And they really need to not. I think that's a good direction to take.
King Arthur. I haven't seen King Arthur, but
we should watch King Arthur.
I heard nothing good from King Arthur, if I'm being honest. Like, every critic that I saw personally. And they cited, most of them cited Charlie Hunnam's performance in that. And
Charlie Hunnam seems like he's a great guy, but he's not a great actor.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting from him anyway. So at any rate, Pacific Rim, the first one, to me is like a 7 or an 8.
I'd say like an 8-ish. Yep. Between like an 8 and 9. I'd say probably closer to an 8 because it didn't like wow me, but the action's real fun. And it's big dumb monsters.
There's a lot of like fun to be had, and the story's really well constructed. The second movie, I thought John Boyega's character was way better, like miles cooler and more fun to watch.
I love John Boyega. Let's just throw that out.
He's a great actor in anything.
He's funny. He's charming. He used his British voice this time instead of I didn't know he was British.
Exactly.
I had no idea. It's just like when Tom Holland talks at all.
But like a lot of that is it's just talent because he mocks the American guy in the American voice and he's using his Finn voice but in like a raspy kind of cool voice. You know what I mean? Like it's great. It's just a work of art, that fucking thing.
Well,
anyway,
I'm Nate.
So
I'm
I thought
sexy and handsome.
Exactly. So I thought the characters for the most part in this movie
were way better.
Were better than the characters in the movie. The best character in the last movie was Charlie Day, and I'm gonna save Charlie Day for. I have a lot to say about.
I don't think that's his actor name. I think that's his name. It's always in Philadelphia.
in the movie.
I want to know what his name is now.
No, it's Charlie Day.
I feel like that might be the character's
Why
name.
would you name a character Day in a show called Sunny in Philadelphia?
Why wouldn't you name a
because
character
it's
Day
stupid.
And it's always Sunny in Philadelphia?
It's too.
The show's stupid. I love it so much. But it's dumb.
That's really okay. Well, anyway, but no, I thought him in the first one was. I didn't like him at first, but then he kind of grew on me. I'm gonna save talking about it for a second.
That is the acting name. Jesus Christ!
I told you. So Pacific Rim 1 and 2, I'd say both of them have really nice action scenes. I won't say stellar or exceptional. I'll say the first one had some really nice moments in it.
Yeah.
And the second one, the first half had a really strong action scenes. I loved everything with. What's the name? Obsidian Fury?
Yeah, Obsidian Fury.
Obsidian Fury, which is the rogue Jaeger that they were fighting. He was in 2 big scenes, and both of those scenes are awesome.
They are.
And I will probably watch them on YouTube later once the movie comes out on digital. I love the fact that he had 2 swords. He had to fight John Boyega, who wasn't very experienced.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Well, he was experienced. He's rusty.
He's a bit rusty because he's just an idiot.
Yeah.
He's partying.
He's a dumb character.
Yeah,
I love him so much.
No, I love that so much. But like a lot of that was really strong for me. If I'm going to be honest about Pacific Rim 2, I'm very in the middle on it. Like, I have a lot of mixed emotions and mixed feelings because the characters are great, some of them, and then some of them aren't great. And then the action is great, and then some of the action really isn't that great.
Well, where do you want to start?
Well, that's the thing. We start with the part that's smaller, whether liked or didn't like, but I don't know which one to start with.
Flip a coin?
Yeah, I have a coin right here.
All right,
ready?
Heads strong, good, tails bad.
Tails.
Boy, do I love talking about bad things.
All right. Do you want to start us off, or you want me to start us off?
Child actors, baby.
Woo! Child actors, yeah. Love child actors. They're so good in every single movie they're in.
Every one of the cadets was terrible.
Yeah. Oh my god. Honestly, beyond the actors, I thought both the acting and the writing for all of the cadets that weren't the main 2 or 3 leads were just awful. Like Victoria, but she likes to call Veek, and if you don't call her Veek, then she gets mad and starts yelling about bigger being better, and then she fights you, and then is like, detect me, and then at the end of the movie, she's like, go get him and do it big. Like, what? Was that a story? Or are you just writing random lines and putting them into a character? I'm like, yep, that's fine, just post it. Steven S. tonight, I'm just gonna make it a movie. It's direct, cut, action, no those horror involved, piece of shit!
Let's just stop putting kids in movies.
Let's
pretend like children don't exist.
And then you get Spider-Man the original trilogy, where Tobey Maguire plays a high schooler.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, but Tobey Maguire's fucking 40, even though he's like 25 at the time of filming
He looked
that.
like he's 40.
He's the age where it should be young enough to play a high schooler-ish, give or take, but he doesn't look like a high schooler.
James Franco looked like a high schooler.
Literally, in that first movie, you go back, he's like 19 years old, or looks 19 at the very least.
Yeah, he's like 20-something, but he looks like he's 19.
He looks like he'd be like us.
Passable.
Very passable, definitely. And even Kirsten Dunst, she's not the best actor in those movies, but she also looked young. And then Tobey Maguire stood out like a sore thumb.
He stood out
like an old wrinkly thumb.
Wrinkly thumb, yeah.
But this isn't about Spider-Man. This is about Pacific Rim.
Yeah, and the great child acting.
Okay, so we're starting with negatives?
Yeah.
So child acting, the whole story, really, there were some parts of the script where it was bad. And then it started to get good, and I was like, ooh, that's going to be a good thing. And then it went right back to bad. Like, for example...
Spoilers, by the way.
I liked how it started with, like, him being an idiot and, like, the cadet roller bot. That's fine, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this doesn't look so bad. I like the giant police robot. That's cool. That's cool idea.
Yeah, I like how they electrified it.
And then she's shipping out the drones, and then I thought, wow, what a cool, inventive idea. And then she talks about why, and she's like, I've waited my entire life for this. Burn it all. I'm Michael B. Jordan. Look at my dick. It's that again, but girl and Asian this time. It's that. And it makes me angry to see, I've waited my entire life for this. We gotta make drones, otherwise I'm not gonna be fulfilled in life. Like, are you kidding me? Is that why? You're a CEO of a company because you waited your entire life to make drones? They wrote that in the fucking script, dude. Like, I'm not making it up. I wish I were.
I think she wanted that big fame and fortune that the hero...
No, she got, like, visibly angry when you even suggested the notion that you couldn't put drones instead of actual people into robots. You know what I mean? Like, she was personally attacked by, Charlie Day when he, like, brought up, like, hey, that's not actually a good idea. So, anyway, like, I like that concept until you get introduced to the villain, which isn't really the villain, but we'll get into that later. But there was that. And then I really didn't like the scene also where the drones were starting to drop, and I thought it was like, okay, well, now it's time for the big action set piece. And then I liked when they started to turn to kaiju. I was like, wow, what a cool and exciting twist. And then after they were kaiju, Charlie Day is like, oh yeah, I'm going to destroy the world. And I was like, oh, the brain thing.
He's fucking the alien.
Yeah, he's fucking the alien, but he's really not because he has all the mannerisms and speech of Charlie Day, and he has the mentality of Charlie Day, and then he doesn't have the mentality of Charlie Day, and he sort of does, and he sort of doesn't. And it didn't even feel like the brains were competing at any point, even when he had his friends throw it in his hand. It felt just like Charlie Day, but also he's evil now. Because you want to know why? The script needed him to be evil, so just have him take a brain home and, like, put on a brain thing sometimes. Like I did. Again, a really interesting idea that could have been fleshed out into something wonderful, and then they take it and they make it worse as time goes on. Yep. And finally, if I'm gonna get the big negative out of the way, they had 4 awesome, epic Jaegers ready to do battle against 3 massive kaiju, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this is it. If this is good, you know what? Fine, I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I'll give it the soft pass. It's a good movie at the very least. It's just not great. If this is a great moment, fine, whatever. But then they fight the 3 monsters for 3 minutes max, and then Charlie Day hits a button and a bunch of little robots come out and make them all into one, and I'm thinking, okay, well that was, but you can still make it epic and awesome.
Look how fucking huge that
Yeah,
thing was.
This can still be good.
I have to give that credit. It looked fucking great.
It looked great for the 30 seconds that it happened, and then the Jaeger comes up and it's smacked into a building, the other Jaeger comes up and it's eaten alive, and the other Jaeger comes up and it's just, like, he just wipes them all out, and I'm thinking, okay, well, but where's, like, is this most of the fight? Is the fight almost over already? And then Gypsy Danger comes down and then loses his friend, and the girl jumps into the robot too, and they weld a rocket to his hand and they fly into the atmosphere and they fire at the monster, and that's the end. Like, are you kidding me? That's your fight? This is your third act? You battle, lose, and then rocket from your hand into a mountain to stop Pacific Rim literally blowing up?
That reminded me of Batman v Superman, where you expected like this big epic thing, and then you got
you got
jumping around buildings for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and then Superman dying.
Exactly. You got 5 minutes or I think it's 8 minutes of Batman fighting Superman, and that lasted longer than the Jaeger fighting the kaiju fight at the end of this movie. And I'm not counting the part where they welded a rocket to his hand and fired it into space. That's not a fight. That is a plot point that shouldn't belong in the third act or any movie, really, because I thought that was really stupid. How are you going to aim a Jaeger from miles away, many kilometers away, into the atmosphere and back down onto exactly where the kaiju is going to be at that mountain point before it gets into the mountain point? How?
They had to also account for it to stop and roar.
Yeah, they accounted it for it to stop and roar from the atmosphere with like little to no circuits left working, and it was just kind of barreling down with, did it have one arm at that? I don't know.
It had both arms.
It had both arms. It had just nothing working, and it was just firing along with a big rocket, and God, I really dropped the ball.
Yeah, the third act was bad.
But there's so much that I do like in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle.
The plot points are some of the plot points are pretty interesting. Some of them are poop, trash, garbage.
Anything with the cadets. There was a lot of time spent with the cadets.
The cadets sucked, but all of the older characters were interesting. All the Rangers. The main character stole the show. He was fantastic. John Boyega's very talented.
Oh my god, if the main character was another Charlie Hunnam-esque performance, I would have given it like a fucking 3 out of 10, dude. Like, that he's carrying what's left of this movie for me, you know what I mean?
The movie's like a half-built Jaeger, and he's like dragging it along.
Limping along with one arm.
Yeah.
Which, again, I really liked, and that was part of the scenes where he was fighting Obsidian Rage. Any scene with Obsidian Rage in it where they're fighting back and forth.
Obsidian Fury, but that's a good one.
My mistake. They're fighting like that. That is awesome. I love the concept of Rogue Jaeger. I thought the Rogue Jaeger was going to be one of the main villains. It was really just kind of like I thought wasted. It felt very Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, where like, oh, awesome villain! Except in The Phantom Menace, they gave you an epic 10-minute fight scene. And that
the best music in the movie.
The best music, Duel of the Fates. This didn't even give us that. It gave us some great scenes that were really short, and then they welded a rocket to his hand and he flew into the atmosphere. I keep bringing it up, but it makes me very angry to watch that.
It was a dumb thing.
So...
It was a dumb
I'm done. I'm done talking about the tales.
About the things that we like.
Yeah, let's talk about... Okay, well, I don't have to flip it again.
We don't have to flip it
There's
again,
only 2 options.
We have to talk about more negatives.
Yeah, exactly. So, things I like, we've already mentioned the characters, or some of the characters.
The characters are really nice.
John Boyega. Charlie Day, before he turned into the weird plot twist evil guy, I thought was really good. And even after, he does best with what he can, but he's not really, that role is kind of shit. But I really liked a lot of what they did with him, but it's not the end part.
Yep.
I liked a lot of kaiju and or the kaiju designs.
The designs are so
I
good.
like the idea that they bust out of the Jaeger because they have brains in them. That's cool. And I like the idea that they meld into one. I would have loved to see them actually fight with that one, but
Yeah, because it was so big.
I know.
That's the thing. I saw that and I'm like, this movie is going to be so good. And then it stopped. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't really deliver on the action.
Because the fight scene between the 4 and the 3 was pretty, building up, epic, good.
Exactly.
And then when they morphed together, I'm like, oh, this is where the climax happens. And then it didn't.
It did not happen.
And I was like, oh.
Big
but
time.
It looks so big.
A lot of critic reviews said that there's too much action. I argue very much the opposite.